Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year again. Dew is starting to settle on the cross-country course. I'm starting to get notifications on the Instagram machine stating that teams are posting for the first time in a while. And yes, the official start date of cross-country for the PIAA for Pennsylvania is coming up. We're actually less than a week away from an official start date, and I know those hill workouts are in. I know there have been some cross-country camps happening throughout the summer. It's that time again. It's everyone's favorite time of the year. It is cross-country season. I know that makes everybody feel better, and even with all of that, it is now the third season 3 premiere of the DELCO Cross Country Podcast starting now. Yes, we're trying to get even better this year in our junior year of the podcast. Think about it this way. When I started this podcast, the top names in DELCO, like Rowan Carr, John Ricketts, Paul Lua, Kendra Williamson, Evelyn Ewad, they were all freshmen. Some that I even covered in the top freshman podcast back in season 1. Side note, be a great re-listen too. Like if you go backwards to season 1, be a great re-listen to see if any of those names ended up in the rankings this year into their junior year. We head into their junior year. We head into this podcast junior year, and we look to be bigger and better than ever. And I know one of the things that people have been asking for is the sound quality of this podcast to get a little bit better. I'm going to try to do that this year. I'm going to try to upgrade, maybe even look for some sponsorships to help me upgrade this podcast even more to make it better for you. Please also note that this podcast has no association with the DELCO Times. I am going to put that out there right now to start this podcast, even though sometimes I'm asked a few questions by DELCO Times in regards to the cross-country season. We are not associated. We are not paid for, by, or anything by the DELCO Times. I'm not paid at all for this podcast. This is all for fun for me right now. So just starting this season off on the right foot. Season 3 premiere of the DELCO Cross Country Podcast, and we start this just like we did last year. We started off with a way too early DELCO Championship prediction. And now remember that this prediction has no stud freshmen in the rankings. It has no transfers in our rankings. It's just based off of last year's best times as well as what I've seen developing over the last few years. So let me start with this. The reign of the Haverford girls, Pencrest boys, Episcopal boys, they may come to an end this year. The key word there is may. These teams have the numbers and the talent to take over DELCO again, but there have been teams that I've had my eye on over the last few years that I believe are ready to take those next steps forwards, next step to potentially the DELCO Cross Country Champions come September 27th. Over the past few years, we've seen the Haverford girls led by now alumni Olivia Cieslak and Karen McGeehan, as well as Pencrest led by alumni Eddie Mulligetta, Nick Fonte, and now junior Rowan Carr literally run DELCO cross country. In that time period, there were teams that were putting in the work and the effort over the year, these different moments, so let's break them down. This is what I've been noticing in the county over the last 3 years. On the boys' end, while Episcopal Academy and Pencrest have really run the show, we have some teams that are quietly putting in those impressive performances, quietly, potentially moving forward, looking to break down into wins. And we're going to check that out right now. My team to look out for on the boys' end this year is the team from Haverford High School. Haverford is going to end up number 1 in my preseason rankings. This is pretty easy. They've been putting in the work, and I've seen them putting in those impressive performances, especially last year at this time. While they did not run at DELCO's last year, this could potentially happen again come September. However, they're the team I'm looking out for as the favorites this year, without including those transfers or freshmen. Based off the returners, this team has their top 5 all ranked in the top 17 in the county. This is something that is unprecedented for any program in Delaware County. You're going to see a trend on the girls' end specifically, where you're looking at these teams having like 2 to 3 top runners, but missing those 4 or 5. On the boys' end, you have teams that have those top 4 runners, and they're missing the number 5. Right now, Haverford has 5 of their runners ranked in the top 17 in the county. For those who are new to this sport and potentially listen to this podcast for the first time, cross-country scoring is different from other scoring. There are 7 athletes that run in the varsity race of a cross-country meet. The top 5 finishers, they're the ones who would score in that meet. They score based off their place. For instance, first place is 1 point. 5th place is 5 points. 15th place is 15 points. The team with the lowest score in the end wins. Now you might say, Kevin, hey, what about those teams that have? What about their 6th and 7th runners? Those are your tiebreakers. They are just as important as anybody else in that race. All right, I've seen many races come down to a tie-breaking performance out of that 6th runner. It will be the team with the better placed 6th runner would win that race in the end. So those 6th, 7th, they really rely on those 6 and 7 throughout that time. So once again, I'm looking at Haverford. They have 5 of their top 17, or sorry, 5 in the top 17 rankings in the county. They are led by Teddy Foster, who is right now ranked 3rd in the county. They return Ryan Cleary, ranked 9th, Aiden Chevrolet, ranked 12th, Sean Lawson, ranked 13th, and Charlie Hatton, ranked 17th. Not to mention, they have a 6 and 7. Kevin O'Neill, ranked 21, and Jonathan Awad, ranked 24th. Pack running has become very important in cross country. Haverford has the bodies to do that, and they pull atop my preseason rankings right from the start. You can't count out those other teams, though. You can't count out teams that have their front runners. For instance, Pencrest, they should be in the mix again for the top of Delaware County. They're led by junior Rowan Carr, who's favored to win Delcos individually again within his junior season. Pencrest has the power to put 4 runners in the top 15. That's Rowan Carr, Andrew Hayes, ranked 7th, Bart Kruziski, ranked 10th, Sean Holst rightly would be ranked 15th. But it will be their 5th man they're looking for this season. Could it be a new freshman stud? Or would summer running have worked for this pack of Lions? Right now, their 5th man in the rankings would be Brendan Kawan, with Nate Weinreich and Jason Kessling not too far behind. We'll be interested to see if they're able to continue to build on their success. Maybe they get a stud freshman like they had with Rowan Carr. Maybe they build that talent through summer running. It's that junior year, especially on the boys' end, where you start to see that summer training really does pay off in the end. Then you're looking at Episcopal Academy. They are ranked number 3 in my preseason rankings. They have their own dynamic duo with Curtis Connor, who's ranked 2nd, and John Ricketts, who's ranked 4th. But they will have to look to continue to build with their runners 3, 4, and 5. Now, these rankings do take into account last year's season best performance, and Episcopal Academy would have only had 1 chance to run on the fast Lehigh course, so it wouldn't be a surprise if Caleb Young or William Patterson find their way into the top 15 to 20. And they are going to, once again, look for their 5th man. Could that be Kyle Zhang, who will be coming off of summer running? Summer training will be someone else from summer training. Will be a freshman that kicks in again. And once again, Episcopal Academy has shown in the past they can build runners, and they will look to continue to build onto this success. Now, I also have teams in the conversation. Now, teams in the conversation would clearly be a team like the team of Ridley in the conversation again. They have returners like Paul Lua and Oma Matheos to lead their way. Plus, they have Bobby Navazio and sophomore Nick Lancey, said that name a lot last year. This team should be able to be in the running and contention again throughout this season. Radnor should also be in consideration. They have a dynamic duo of their own in Jack Whibble and Ian Britty, with Connor Walsh not too far behind them. Look out for Radnor to be potentially within this time. That concludes my preseason top 5 on the boys' end. Preseason top 5 right now, ranked number 1 is Haverford. Ranked number 2 is Pencrest. Ranked number 3 is Episcopal Academy. Ranked number 4 is Ridley. And ranked number 5 is Radnor. Now, this doesn't, you can't take out of the equation teams with top runners. We do have top returners from last year's championships, and this would be out of the top 15. Last year, Rowan Carr was your champion from Pencrest. He is ranked number 1. Last year, Curtis Connor from Episcopal Academy, he finished 5th. John Ricketts from Episcopal Academy, he finished 7th. Donnie Cave from Bonner and Prendy, he finished 9th. That's a team that is a state medalist in the 4x8 outdoors. They've only lost 1 senior in that group off that cross-country team last year. That's a team you have to also look out for. At one point could potentially make it into the top 5 rankings. Andrew H., he was 10th overall. He's from Pencrest. Chris Carty, he was 12th last year. He is from Springfield. Joshua Esters, he is from Penwood. He went 13th last year. Sean Holst Rightly, he is from Pencrest. He went 14th last year, and that was his coming out race at DELCO Championships, one that I definitely remember in the end. And he went 15th last year. That would be Paul Alua from Ridley. On the girls' end, it has been a very much championship that was taken over by teams over the past couple years. Haverford obviously dominated, but then you had Notre Dame and Springfield and Radnor all building within that time. But there have been teams that have been building within the background. There are teams that came out of nowhere. For instance, right now, my ranking would have a team that was under the radar last preseason. A team that I did not mention last preseason, but made a powerful impression early, and that is the team from Agnes Irwin. Agnes Irwin has the power to pack run in the front of the race. They could put 4 girls in the top 15, but it would be their 5th runner that would ultimately come down to. They have a trio up front that love to work with each other. That's Sophia Casey, Avery Brennan, and Emma Watson. This trio was dominant last year in cross country and even in track, and they look to continue to build off of each other's success. While they didn't have the best DELCO championship race last year, they're definitely hungry to go after it this year. They have the power up front to do it, and with a 4th runner in Margaret Dooley, who finished 18th who is, I believe, actually ranked 18th. Let me look at the results from last year. She finished 18th overall last year to help the trio up front. Once again, the question will come down to how Agnes Irwin can compete on a more hilly course and where their number 5 athlete will end up in a race. Right now, not including freshmen or transfers, their 5th would be Wynn Hastings, which is ironic because Agnes Irwin is looking to get their first DELCO win. Now, there's teams you can't count out again, and building into the top 3 is going to be fun, especially on the girls' end. Right now, the defending champion Haverford girls, ranked number 2 in the county. Yes, they lost Cisak. Yes, they lost McGeehan. They lost a ton of athletes from that team a year ago. They lost Micah Haskins as well. They lost Prue Fryn as well. I am well aware of who they are missing off of that team from a year ago, including Anastasia Harmon. However, they still have the depth. They still have the power to step up and put pressure on these teams. And Haverford, they showed during the outdoor track season last year that under pressure, they're able to pull off some wins out of nowhere. So having Ryan Dankinis, who is ranked 2nd, and Evelyn Awad, who's ranked 7th, return for them is huge. The top 2 help the Fords look to continue to put pressure all over Delaware County, including their top 3 to 5 runners. Right now, the pressure on those 3 to 5 would be Isabel McDermott, Charlotte Gone, and Amalia Capewell. all can clearly change. All this can clearly change once a freshman class could step on a cross-country course. You never know what Haverford could pull off. Rounding out the top 3 in my rankings is the team from Radnor. Last year they finished 3rd overall, and they look to continue to build on this. They are led by 2 top runners themselves in Mia Richter, ranked 8th, and Coco Connor, who is ranked 9th. They also have returner Clara Humphrey, who is ranked 23rd within the mix. Just like every team, it will take runners 4 through 5 to close that gap, and right now that is great. That is Grace Kimlinger and Claire Brown for the team from Radnor. There are teams, however, that I am watching. There are teams that I'm keeping my eye on, just like I'm keeping my eyes on certain boys' teams in the rankings. Like I'm looking at Ridley for the boys' teams with Paul Lua and Oma Matheos, Bobby Navazio, Nick Lancy. I'm looking at Radnor as well on the boys' end. For the girls' teams, I am watching teams with top runners, have the ability to put top runners within the top 5 to 10 of a race. Clearly, Episcopal is a team to watch. Their returning champion, Kendra Williamson, is running for a lot within her junior year, taking home another DELCO Championship, potentially breaking a record on a Rose Tree course. It's definitely on her list, but also bring her teammates along with her. Episcopal Academy is going to return, clearly, Kendra Williamson, Hannah Todd, and Anna Bradford, and I wouldn't be surprised to see any other familiar names pop up on the cross-country course for the first time. Episcopal can definitely build on. Once again, that freshman class could be the clear difference maker for a team like Episcopal. Then you have the team from Garnet Valley. They're one of the 2 teams, them and Haverford, that have 5 girls ranked in the top 40 in the county. They're led by Avery Lustgarden, Lily Mellinger, and Rachel Hicks. Wouldn't be surprised if they put up a great race come September. You also have a team like Ridley, who returns sophomore CeCe Kane. CeCe finished 5th at last year's DELCO Championships, but was in the race up until the end. With a front runner, they continue to build on the next 4. Ridley could put up some numbers throughout the year. You also see teams that are returning top performers, like Notre Dame returns 3 of their top runners from last year, Carson Tierney, Kara Sweeney, and Alexandra Wolf. You also have Strathaven, who returns their dynamic duo of Mara Carey and Sophie Jackson, and you could put them in the mix. So right now, my preseason top 5 rankings on the girls' end would be number 1, Agnes Irwin, number 2, Haverford, number 3, Radnor, number 4, Garnet Valley, and number 5, Ridley. Here's the top returners from last year's DELCO Championships. Number 1 is Kendra Williamson from Episcopal Academy. Finishing 3rd last year was Carson Tierney from Notre Dame. Finishing 5th was CeCe Kane from Ridley. 6th was Ryan Dankinis from Haverford. 9th was Kara Sweeney from Notre Dame. 10th was Avery Lustgarden from Garnet Valley. 11th was Cassidy Jones from Pencrest. That's a team that I did not have in my rankings. It should be a team you are looking out for as well. Number 13 is Emma Watson from Agnes Irwin. 14th last year was Sophia Casey from Agnes Irwin. And 15th last year was Lily Mellinger, and she is from Garnet Valley. Strategy should be interesting again this season, especially with championships in September. So keep an eye on what teams do early in the season. Naturally, I'll be keeping my eyes on it and adding to our rankings each week. So every time I have a new podcast, a new weekly podcast, usually it comes after the meets. I try to do 2 a week. I try to do a post-meet podcast and a pre-meet podcast. I will be looking to update the rankings each week. Top 5 teams, top 10 individuals for that week. Right now, that's all I have for the way too early prediction episode and the season 3 premiere of DELCO Cross Country Podcast. If you like it or you dislike what you hear, please share it with a friend, family member, coach. Light a fire in the belly of your teammates and call that DELCO Cross Country Podcast guy a hater, because it's the start of the season and you get the chance to prove me wrong. while you're doing that, while you're lighting that fire in your bellies and lighting the fire in your teammates' belly, might as well follow us on our socials, Instagram and X, which is Twitter, at DelcoXCPod. You can always email me, delcoxc@gmail.com. As always, this is Kevin Key, reminding you to get up those hills and move